Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Return of Whatever. I'm Herbert Mitchley.
I'm Meat Daddy.
And finally, we got all the boys back together again.
Yeah.
You know, me when you're not on the cast, people don't really want to watch this or listen to it.
Well, I can imagine. You know, when I'm not here, there's no pretty.
Well, it's like this. It's like the Kool-Aid. We gotta have the water, the Kool-Aid, and the sugar. You know. So I'll take the water.
Without me, it's sugar-free Kool-Aid,
I thought we were
and that's better for you.
I thought that was lost to the distant past.
Well, we finally got all three ingredients together again to make this the greatest Return of Whatever ever on here.
So which one are you, Herb? The water?
I'll be the water. Is that cool? Because I'm in blue today. And Dan?
What are you and me?
You want to be the flavor or you want to be the sugar?
I'm the brown sugar.
And Dan, you're the flavor. And you mix it all up, and it's Kool-Aid time. Oh yeah. Well, we've had an awesome weekend technology. I've seen a really couple cool some cool things on the show notes. Does anybody want to start off?
Well, Herb, you have the best idea of what is out there, so why don't you start it off, Herb?
Well, one is we all know the biggest website search engine in America, right? And probably a lot of the world, which is what?
Actually, it's Baidu.
Yes, it is. But we normally think of it as Google, right?
Yeah.
Well, apparently in China, the big one is this Baidu search engine, and I just really thought it was fascinating that here we are thinking that basically Google is playing catch up to this one in China. So I played around with it a little bit to see things on it and so forth. I typed my name into it to see what pops up, and it seems if I could speak Chinese or Mandarin, it probably would be a very good search engine.
Yeah, the thing about it is Google actually predates Baidu, but Baidu did the Chinese localization earliest on. So obviously in China they've got a lot of people and they don't speak English. So having that Chinese localization just built in made it huge. I mean, it wasn't that they had a brand new idea; it was that they had an existing idea that they tailored to their market. So yeah, I actually knew that Baidu was much bigger than Google.
Yeah, I mean it's fast. I haven't really done any research on their algorithms and whatnot. I'm sure it's comparable in some ways to Google.
Well, you know, all search engines have some slight differences in their algorithms. I'm sure that Baidu is just the other thing that Google has when dealing with China is that they have to do a lot of specific filtering for the with the Chinese governmental regulations. Where Baidu, being already part of that entity, they don't have to worry about those regulations as much.
Well, speaking about search engines, there's one that I just read about today, and it's from Britain, and it's not quite out yet. It's called the Wolfram Alpha, and basically it tries to understand people's questions and answers them directly. So if I put a question into the search engine, it will try to figure out what I am actually talking about, and give me an answer for that.
Yeah, didn't we already see this with Ask Jeeves?
I guess that didn't work that well.
Or Ask.com. I mean, Ask.com or Ask.com. If you look at it now, it's a much different search engine than it was, 5-10 years ago, and it actually does a really good job. That being said, I wouldn't move over from Google. Just so
Well,
used to Google.
I mean, are we all stuck on Google pretty much?
Yeah, I think I am.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Well, I
I
guess
think
if we were doing this podcast, if they had podcasting back in 1998, were we all Yahoo at that time?
98,
mm,
actually, I was web crawler,
mm,
which
I don't
doesn't
even
exist
remember.
anymore.
Probably Yahoo for me.
I'm pretty sure I was Yahoo back 10, 11 years ago, and then
Mm,
I'm trying to remember. Do you guys remember the first time you got onto the Google?
no, I don't remember the exact date. I discovered it pretty early though, and
And,
like with like any kind of technology like this, it's really like if you find something that's so much better that it just blows you away. I mean, that's how Google was when I first used it. It's like, and I also like the simplicity of the interface. Like there's that image somewhere of like Yahoo and Google over time. Like you've seen it, right? And
Yeah.
like Google's essentially disregarding I Google, which is you opt into it, but Google's interface essentially remains simple and clear, and takes up this much text on the screen. Over like the 10 years it's existed, whereas Yahoo is like, you know, more and more and more and more. It's like going to Vegas.
well, but the thing about it is, Yahoo is different from Google, at least when they first started, right? Yahoo was a website indexing group, pretty much a website index, whereas Google is a website search engine.
Well, I remember this. The big claim of fame for Yahoo at the time, at least when it first came out, like in I guess '95 or '94, whenever it first came out, um, was that it was actually indexed by a human being. Someone actually looked at the sites, and if it was valid, they would put it on their index. And
Mm-hmm.
obviously, that didn't take long for that to have to go away because it had been impossible for that many people to look at all the search websites. And initially,
Oh, I don't know. I've attempted Project 404 pretty often.
Well, I actually do remember I remember there was a time when there was a document that you could download that was like every site on the internet.
what?
Yeah. I mean, that was how you found out about sites. It was like you downloaded this document. It was like um, it was a list of every site that was, at the time they were only like, it was in the thousands, not the millions or whatever.
Like 30,000 websites, maybe, or something like that.
Less than
Probably
that,
like 2000.
yeah. That'd be much more like. I mean, yeah.
Well, I was shocked to
I
find.
mean, I remember like before there was a graphical internet, really, right? So
Yeah. Well,
Hey, there's always been a graphical interface for the web. It was called AOL.
well, the thing about these search engines
yeah.
is that it really has changed education,
Uh,
libraries, and so forth. And I see that with students that students really don't do research in libraries as much anymore, especially undergrads. Graduate students, I'm sure, do, and doctorate students, I'm sure, still go to the libraries. Uh, it has gotten to a point that we basically are having things online. I did this recently. I think I emailed you both this for fun. I put a couple of plays and a novel that I wrote onto the Kindle store on Amazon. And basically, I just uploaded a PDF file of it or HTML file to it, uploaded a picture, and bam! If someone wanted to buy one of my works on the Kindle, they could download it for 99 cents. I was going to try to do it free, but you had to put a price on it, sadly.
Hmm. Yeah,
And
yeah, sure.
I'm just saying I put zeros. No, it has to be between 99 cents and $200. I should have put $200 because I think the same
I
amount
kind
of
of
people
want
are
to
going
put
to.
a $200 something out there, you know?
Well, I think I'm gonna get the same amount of downloads, be it 99 cents or $200, so it doesn't really matter. But I just was curious how easy it was to put that up, and it was very easy to do. To put some stuff up there, And as time goes on, I think, and Dan, we were talking about this a little bit the other day about how you would rather have all your books digitally than to carry around all the books when you move and so forth.
Yeah, I think I would for the most part. Other than obviously, like the Kindle, for example, has limitations in that it's a relatively like slightly bigger than paperback size, and it's grayscale. So obviously, any book that sort of benefits from either a larger size or from color images and stuff, I would still want a paper copy for.
Hmm. So one thing that I figured, if they really wanted to make a killing, like the one thing that's keeping bookstores alive right now. This is really sad that I know this, but it's manga. So there's little Japanese comics for those who aren't in the know. They're kind of book-like, but they're very small and very relatively cheap, and they're published as serials. So there's always a next issue coming out every month or two, and that's what's keeping bookstores alive in many places. So if they could actually put more manga on the Kindle type devices, I think that that would be huge. I mean, I may actually buy one because
Yeah,
I've read a
I
couple
actually read
pieces
an
of manga
article
that are
not too
pretty
long
good.
about that, and I guess there are some problems with manga on the Kindle, so that I don't think the Kindle 2 is going to be able to do it, but maybe when they do the Kindle 3. But
Hmm.
apparently like manga has to be handled as an image, and apparently the way that images are displayed on the screen is not as efficient as pure text is, so it takes longer to load.
Well,
And
that was one of my questions too, and that's why I kind of uploaded it to the Kindle thing to see how it would work. And all it does, it just takes it and converts it as a HTML, because once you upload it, something say this is what it looks like, and if you want, you can download the HTML if you want to tweak it and re-upload it. So if you want to put chapters on it or put an index on it as well, you
yeah,
can do
Is
all those
it
things.
HTML or CHM?
As HTML.
Okay.
Yeah. So what I did just for fun, I put a couple of them up. Actually, on my website, I think I emailed. I don't know if I emailed you guys, but I can email you guys. You'll see exactly what it is. So you can look at if you want to read one of my books, you can read it on your iPod Touch on your iPhone, and Dan, you can read on your phone you got as text, because you can open a web page, right, on your one. So and that's the same experience as the Kindle. I mean, at least the way my book would be on the Kindle, on there. But it just really has showed how the paradigm has changed so much in education. And one of the things that's difficult for me as a teacher, and I'm still relatively young. I'm not dead yet. I'm still relatively young. It is hard for me to still keep up with the technology that all these youngins uh, are, and also their point of view of things. And if you're an educator, you're never done learning. You never once you're done learning, that's it. You're done as a teacher. But we're basically have the what's that effect, right? Every 2 years the processors double and all that stuff.
Moore's law.
Yeah, and in a
What's
lot
in
of
Moore's law?
ways, it really is exponentially. Even even though the short time that we've all known each other, how much things have changed uh, uh, in technology, and especially for educational technology. Oh, Meat, you still there? Hey, Dan, you still there?
Yeah.
Hey, Meat, we lost your sound. Can you say something? Okay. Tell you what, Meat, I'm gonna hang up on you, and I'll call you back. Okay. All right. Here goes. We'll say hi to Meat in a second. All right. Let me get the Meat back. Uh, there he is. And this is what you call technology, man. All right, here we go. Now we play the waiting game. See how long it gets until Meat gets back online. Hey, Amit.
Hey, I'm
All right.
back.
What were you saying, Amit?
I was just saying, I'm just waiting for, or waiting to see which publisher out there is going to embrace these new technologies and say, you know what, let's go to a rental revenue model. You know, instead of printing out all this hard copy and encumbering all this cost for physical textbooks, let's just, charge them for the content and let it be up to the student to, somehow DRM it so that the student has to rent it or something, rent the content.
Well, let me ask this, guys, because we've all been pretty much heavily on the computer for a long time. Can you read text on the computer screen as fast as you can text on a written page?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, but the thing about the Kindle is it's like reading a written page. Anything with those e-ink displays are pretty much like using a written display.
Well,
Okay.
in theory, anyway, since I've not actually seen one, but
Yeah. Well,
See, I've
that's how
spent a
that's how
lot of
that's what
time.
started. Yeah.
I've spent a lot of time looking at the Sony e-reader and the Kindles physically, because I know people who've got them, and it looks like a book. I mean, except there's like a thin little bit of plastic layer between the words and you.
well, I think that was one of the biggest things is that on average, one I saw a YouTube video they were talking about education and stuff like this, and they were saying in there that kids, I use let's say college students. I won't say kids. College students read about 8 books a year, but they read like 150,000 web pages a year. So, which I don't discount. I mean, how much time do they spend on the Facebook versus actually doing research for school?
Hmm.
I mean, we all know the answer to that. I mean, it's just
Plus, internet memes. I mean, internet memes are important. You know?
yeah, it really
When
has.
they could be spending all that time listening and watching Return of Whatever. What the hell?
Yeah.
Well, the cool thing is that when I embed these onto my Facebook side, that someone could like be looking at Facebook and watching this at the same time.
Hmm.
So feel free to embed this. All you gotta do is go onto YouTube, grab it, and embed it to your thing, and you can just watch it nonstop. Whatever. That point there. All right, well, friends, you got anybody have another link we want to talk about before we wrap this thing up?
Yeah, I've got a couple
No.
things I wanted that caught my attention this week.
Nothing major. Let me see if I got one more. I might have one more link to talk about before we call it a day.
I've got two.
You got one?
You got two.
He's got two.
Okay, go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, I found a couple of things that kind of caught my interest this week. And apparently we're being joined by another cast member. What's our new cast member's name?
Kerplunk.
Kerplunk.
Hi, Capone.
So one was I found a really good article on a mathematician using the Fourier I can't pronounce it, the Fourier transform, which is a mathematical algorithm to apparently solve a mystery as to what chord was used in A Hard Day's Night. Apparently, there's some, and maybe you know this better than I do, Herb, but apparently there's some distinctive chord that um, that the Beatles have would never come forward as saying what it was, and people have wondered about it for I guess like 40 years.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's not like normally I'll do a real simplified version of what chords are. Like chords are usually made up of 3 notes. Well, this one here, if you listen to the very first chord of the Hard Day's Night, ka-chung, and then it goes it's a hard, and then it starts into the song at that point there. I've seen it written on a bunch of fake books a lot of different ways. So sometimes it's a G variant, sometimes it's an F type variant. So it's yeah, there is debate over it.
And so yeah, apparently this guy used a computer and this algorithm to decode all of the notes played and was able to determine what made that cord unique.
Do you get that link real quick? Could you?
I put it in the show notes.
Okay. Which one's it called?
It's the scientific blogging one.
Okay.
Scientificblogging.com.
Oh, I see it. Because I just want to see real quick. Because I can probably, I might can play it for you real quick if I can see what what chord they called it.
Well, see, that's the trick though. Apparently, it's not just a guitar chord. Apparently, they used like some kind of like dubbing technique where they recorded a guitar and a piano track over each other, and so it's actually two different instruments playing, I guess, like the same chord at the same time.
Well, man, they don't even like tell you any of the notes in it or anything.
What's that?
I mean, I was expecting to at least tell the letter notes to it in here. Huh.
Let's see. I think they mentioned something at the bottom. Yeah.
So, okay, it says F piano chord, F note possible played, other notes. Yeah. Well, part of it is also because of that 12-string guitar as well.
Yeah.
And one side note for the folks out here, I mean, here it is. They got SS4 over D. So someone's actually talking about it down here. One thing as a side note, if you ever watched A Hard Day's Night, that was actually the movie that started a lot of bands. A lot of bands went to a lot of people that weren't members of a band went to the movie, and then it came out saying, let's put a band together. And that was basically on how to put together a rock band movie. And so if that movie didn't come out, a lot of bands like let's say the Byrds may have never gotten together because they were influenced highly by that movie.
Mm-hmm.
That's just some rock history for y'all. Awesome.
So yeah, I found that really, really interesting, and I think the article's worth looking at. And also just from like sort of the blend of mathematics and music, which is not new to anybody, but it's always interesting to see stuff about that. The other big one that I had was apparently Google has copped to leaking some Google Docs.
Yeah.
So apparently this was a permissions issue. Apparently, like certain documents showed up in other people's accounts.
No ways bueno.
So I don't know. Like I've been using Google Docs pretty heavily, and we use it for the show. But I've known that, you know, this is kind of a beta thing anyway. I think it still says beta, right? Yeah, Google Docs beta.
Well, Gmail's still beta too.
So I haven't stored anything in there that you know I would consider critical or important, and I certainly don't keep passwords or anything in there. So just to be aware of, but people know that maybe it's not the safest place to do things.
Yeah.
But it is convenient and it is cool.
Well, you know, and this is probably a topic for another thing. Hey, Amy, are you still there?
Yep.
Awesome. Well, this may be a topic for another show at some point. But really, we've gotten to the point that what we store on hard copy isn't as important to us as what we store on ones and zeros on a computer somewhere.
Yeah.
In the next 10 years, I can see that even coming more so.
Yeah, I'm more and more moving away from paper entirely. Like, I have all of my bills are delivered to me through email. You know, my notification that I need to pay them, or they're automatically paid online without me having to do anything, one or the other, depending on how much control I want over it. So I don't even, like, I haven't bought a stamp in like a year.
I sent out a paper letter today.
Wow.
But that's only because my online billing for my one account wouldn't merge with the other account with the same company. So, in other words, I couldn't set up a secondary account. and I've called them and talked to their tech support about it.
Well,
Made me lose 35 cents.
well, it's 42 cents, isn't it?
No, whatever, 42 cents.
Okay, I think it's back in my day. It was 18 cents.
You might want to. That letter might be coming back to you, Meat.
I wasn't sure exactly how much stamps were nowadays, and I had a whole bunch of them, so I put 2 of them on there.
Oh, I see. Are those the same ones you had when we were in New York?
Plausibly.
Yeah.
Quite possibly, actually.
Well, I mean, it's horrible, man. I don't send. I mean, birthday wishes. I poke people on Facebook, write them a song or something like that. I don't send up cards to hardly anybody. Very rarely. You know what? Tell you what. You guys email me your guys' addresses, and I will send you guys a letter from me.
I'm just gonna start sending people herbograms.
Yeah, you should just do that. Well, Dan, you got the chops now.
I wonder if it'd be a surprise if I sent you a herbogram, Herb.
I would love it. But tell you what, let's do this before the end of the year. Let's mail each other a snail mail letter.
Yeah, I'm gonna save my my letters and my actual physical deliveries for things like flowers and stuff like that. And Herb, Dan, you guys don't warrant flowers.
Awesome. Now that's fine. I mean, I don't want no flowers. But the one thing,
I see Dan's all silent over there.
Well,
is he crying on the inside?
I think about this, and this actually is with educational point. I mean, a lot of the things that we get from history are from personal letters. I only have a handful of personal letters. A couple months back, I was going through some stuff, and I found some letters that my granny had sent my dad. And I was reading through them, and they're like from the 70s and so forth like that. And, that's a piece of history that if we would have sent via email, which today that's what happens, I mean, it's just going to be lost because unless your kin has access to the email things, and that's already have come up where someone has passed away, their Facebook account is still up, and their loved ones wants that site to come down. And that's happened before with the YouTube. I'm sorry, not YouTube. With Yahoo Mail. Somebody wanted access to their son's email that got killed, and those type of issues. I guess we're going to get to the point in our wills. We have to put in there what we're going to do with our digital content. Will my nerd video be on YouTube from now on? And if I have kids, will they keep continuing to shame them from now on and their grandkids? I don't know. But I guess those are questions that we can leave to other people down the line. Well, I think this was a great cast. Amit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Can I tell you where you can reach us?
Yeah, would you tell us about that?
At returnofwhatever@gmail.com, via our website as www.returnofwhatever.com, or via Twitter on twitter.com/returnofwhatever.
Forget the R on that one, right?
Yeah, they don't support the R's. R, matey. No R. No pirate.
No pirate zone.
Yeah, no pirates there. And you can mail her the letter
if you want to.
Yeah, so that's another way you can reach us.
Snail mail.
All right. Well, for Return Whatever, I'm Amit Dedia.
I'm Daniel Nelson.
And I'm Herbert Midgley.
See you next week.